show you this wall over here. I know the lighting isn't that great, but the video is about hanging wallpaper on a radius or on a radial wall. Now there are two types of radius. Let me show you this one. This, of course, is an outside radius, and we're going to be wallpapering this too, but until we get to it, this is the one that I would like you to see. What's difficult about radial walls is you can knock the wallpaper out of square very easily. Well, just come in close, please. So I hung the wallpaper just like you normally do. 7/8 of the wallpaper is not a problem. About 7/8 of it between the top and the bottom. But once you get to at the very top and at the very bottom, that's where you experience the problem. Number one, my first tip on hanging wall covering on an interior radial wall is this. You would smooth it at 90-degree angles from the border. So here is my seam. And once I establish the connection on my seam, I'm simply going to take my smoother and with my body, just to keep it straight, meaning level. I don't want to be doing this. Here's why. My movement has to be level. It's very tricky because if you should knock this wall covering out of square, not only is it out of square, but it's filling the curve disproportionately. And it'll be a disaster when we come out of the curve to hang the next sheet. So after you smooth it on a level plane, and you're satisfied that your wall covering is in fact level going across, when you have your extra at the bottom, now for those of you who say, why so much extra, Spencer? My repeat is 36 inches. I'm not wasting any wall covering here. Okay. So my border is right here, and it's a substantial lip. So what I want to do, and I want to suggest to you as well, is this. I want you to cut it, trim it first, before you actually cut it. If you leave a substantial amount on the bottom or the top, this will impede your ability to get your knife into this radius. You can see why. This wall covering is going to hold that wallpaper stiff, and rather than cutting it up against the cove base, you're going to be cutting it too short. Please come in close again. Before I trim it further, here's what I want to do. I want to feel and make sure that my wall covering is on the border of this cove base. Then, you see, let me just show you. I'm putting this straight edge up against this radius. You see the wall covering that you see just past it? If I'm not careful here, I will cut this too short. See, I can't see where my border is here. I can only see it here. So I want to take the point of it and push it into the cove base. Another tip. Here's what I want you to do. I'll show you so that you can see it. Push your knife in there and pull down. Do it again. What you're doing is you're relieving tension on this radius. And now, as you can see, my wallpaper is now fitting into this radius a lot better. You see, if I don't do this, I'm going to cut it short. Okay? you can understand why. And the wall covering is, not only is it a challenge in an inner radius, but it's also a challenge because this wall covering is one of the thickest wall coverings I've ever hung. So now, this flexes, right? I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to get it in that corner, and I'm going to move my blade along with this smoother as it curves into this radius. Okay? Now, we take the wall covering off. Now, if I did it improperly, or if you do it improperly, here's what's going to happen. You're going to push on this, and you're going to feel a bunch of air going in because you didn't sufficiently secure the wall covering before you cut it. Remember when I said to do this, and this helps you avoid having your wall covering stuck here and stuck here, but not attached on the depth of the radius. And so there you have it. So let's recap. When you have overlap on an inner radius wall, trim it before you cut it. Make sure that you give yourself 2 inches and no more. You want to trim this excess off. Then you want to press down with your finger, making sure that your wall covering is against the cove base or the woodwork. After that, you want to slice it every 3 to 6 inches, taking all of the tension off of the wall covering as it tries to fill the radial wall. After you do that, make sure you have a flexible spatula that you can place against the wall that hugs the wall, okay? Something too stiff would not be advisable, but let's just say you didn't have one that was too flexible. Here's how you would do it. Simply put your spatula against the corner and ride with the blade on the point. If your spatula is too stiff to conform to the shape of the radius, then make sure that you don't let the radius become an issue for you, and that you simply ride with the point. Okay? So, and the last thing that we want to recap is how you smooth out the wall covering on a radial wall. And that is level strokes. If you do this, here's what's happening. I'm moving the air this way, this way, this way, and I'm slightly throwing the wallpaper out of whack. You want to be very careful to go level. I don't think I've ever covered this on a different video. Without a radial wall, let me show you how to keep your wall covering from developing torque. Torque is when there's tension on the wallpaper, and you get these ripples on the corner. So you'll see ripples. You automatically know what's happening is that your left side is nice and flat up against its counterpart to its left, but your right side is experiencing a disproportionate amount of pressure that's pushing it up, and it causes ripples. And the reason for that is because you're not smoothing out your wallpaper correctly. Let me show you how to do it wrong. It's already smoothed out, so I'm not going to knock it out of square. Here's how you want to do it. You start in the middle. What am I doing here? I'm pushing the air out in an even amount of pressure to my left and to my right, but not straight out, right? Why is that? Because we know that we have to flatten the paper out. We have to put, like when you make your bed, right? You want to pull on the bedspread to make the ripples come out. It's the same idea with this. So if I just go like this, starting in the middle, stroke downward, what does this look like to you? A Christmas tree, right? If you do this, you will not have torque on your wallpaper. Remember what I mean by torque. So if you took a piece of wall covering and your edge looked something like this, and your other end was completely flat, you know you got problems, because here's what you would have to do, right? That's what we're doing when we smooth out wallpaper. We're doing this, essentially, in an exaggerated form. So don't let torque happen on your wallpaper. And the way to do that is to smooth it out with a correctly proportionate amount of pressure to your left and to your right, stroking from the middle, downward on the right, downward on the left, downward on the right, downward on the left. But the rule changes when you're in a radius. The radius is tricky enough to keep the wallpaper straight. And so you abandon this Christmas tree movement and you simply, on the radius, straight, back and forth, back and forth. This is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan is Wallpaper. If you like the video, please click on like, subscribe to my channel. Let me know how you do it. Thanks for watching.